Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I have an opportunity to work on a reel I haven't worked on in some time, and I don't think I have one in my my catalog, so we're going to go do this one. This is a Penn Sargus 7000. The Sargus was introduced in 2007. It was one of the first reels that were manufactured in China, and it was the predecessor to the Fierce and Battle lines. Well, there's something sticking in this reel. You can hear the knock, and also the bail isn't tripping all the time. Now the bail looks like it's bent, so we'll take a look at that one as well. So we're going to take this reel apart completely. We're going to show you how the reel was made, how to service it, and hopefully how to take the knocks out of that, or at least identify what the issue is so that we can go get parts, and well, how to get it back together again, running smooth for a long time to come. As I mentioned, a lot of these things look like the next generation, which is the Fierce and the Battle, and a lot of the parts from the Sargus were also used in those models. Well, as I take off the exterior pieces and parts, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I work on all kinds of fishing reels, and I try to share my knowledge of them with you, so that you can service your reels yourself and keep them running. The one we're on today is a saltwater or a deep water spinning reel. You can use it in the Great Lakes and any lakes that are deep. Use it from surf, use it from the drop fishing and boats and so on. But it isn't the only type of reels I work on. I work on freshwater, I work on vintage as well as modern, and a little bit of everything in between. So I will encourage you to subscribe, and if you do subscribe, please use that notification button. That will let you know when I'm posting. Alright, just remove the spool. You do that by turning your adjuster button counterclockwise. And before I go much further, I want to spin this. Yeah, we still have a knock in there. So I'm not sure what's causing it, but something is out of sync. So we'll continue. We're going to remove the 3 side plate screws now. Well, there's 4. There's one hiding under the bump guard. And when we do this, we want to take a moment to look at the length of those screws and note which one's smaller. Now we do know that the one under the bump guard is smaller, but we want to make sure that the other 2, well, that they're the same size as the one we just removed. If not, you want to mark the position of the one that's longer, shorter, wider, thinner, whatever, so that you can put them back in the right place. As I mentioned, it's been a while. The reel was made from 2007 to 2013, so it's at least 11 years old right now. And, well, quite honestly, I haven't seen that many of them come in. Alright, there's one down here too, and I don't think this screwdriver is going to enable me to get in there to remove it, so I'm going to have to get a micro screwdriver for that one. And I apologize if you're not seeing anything at the moment as I go get that. Okay, let's see if we can get that out with this one. Yep, that works. This is a smaller screw. Be careful with these. When you take them out, you don't want to lose them. One of the ways I try to protect myself from losing them is that I put all of the small screws and the like into a parts tray. That's my way of organizing. So I encourage you to have a parts strategy before you start taking off the pieces and the parts. Alright, this should come off now. Sometimes you may need a little assist from a little bit of a lever. That reel was really tightened down at the handle level, so it could be that I'm just jamming up here with a gear that doesn't want to let go. But if you keep working it, there we go, get some movement. Okay, well that's sanded. There's a lot of sand in the cap here. And dry. And we've got an issue here with a lot of dirt and debris in this reel as well. So I don't know exactly yet what's knocking it, but it's pretty obvious that perhaps this has never been serviced. And if it has been serviced, it's been a while. But we're picking up all kinds of sand, dirt, and debris in here. And well, we'll clean that up. We'll make sure that we get that done as part of the service. Well, we still haven't identified that knock yet. So I'm just going to take a minute here just to clean out the internal sand here. So the Sargus is a metal cased reel. I know a lot of people wonder from time to time what is what. So we're going to do this again. Now it seems to be, well, let's just say that the knock is not that noticeable. Okay, we're going to bring our axle shaft down so that we expose the two screws that are holding the axle shaft in place. So I'm thinking that burring there may be the culprit. It's got a lot of sand on the outside of it. That may be why this is acting the way it is. It may be a broken bearing. All right, hold your crosswind block and pull up on your axle shaft. That should remove that. And what I like to do is I take these pieces and parts out, is clean them as soon as they come off. That way I don't have to worry about them later. Now we should be able to remove the main gear. Let's see if we can get this bearing off. That's what I was afraid of. That piece was so over tightened, I'm afraid it may have peened off. There we go. So this is a rubber jacketed bearing. It's got a shim washer. There's two shim washers on the main gear underneath that. That kind of leads me to tell you to take pictures as you're working on it. Well, you can see from the main gear here, there's not a lot of grease in here. What is in here is pretty much caked up and dried. It's probably got a complement of sand in there as well. And any of those things, this is coming out thick. It's almost like a gelatin. So any of those things could cause the degradation in the performance. So I'm just going to let that soak in penetrating oil for a moment. We'll come over and we'll remove the rest of these pieces. Starting with this crosswind block. So the crosswind block has got a curl to it, and that takes care of moving the axle shaft up and down. There's two functions of that main gear. The front of the main gear, the big part, drives the pinion gear, which turns the rotor, and the smaller one in the back turns the crosswind block, which is here, and that drives the axle shaft up and down. All right, there's a big screw here. Hopefully we can get it out. Match your screwdriver with the blade to the slots. Very important to do that, otherwise you risk damaging that gear. We've removed that. We can see again, just like the other one, there's a lot of old grease and debris back here. And you're just never quite sure what causes a knock, other than you know you're hearing it. And we'll just move that up and bring that in as well. We have a bearing in the back case here, and we can come up top now. So I just want to check on this. So we can move this. So sometimes it's a matter that if it's in such a dry reel, that the solution is actually elementary. It's just putting penetrating oil in, working the bail back and forth. And then it should start snapping easier. There you go. So I would say that's a victim of the dryness and lack of oil. All right, we're going to take this off now. Here's a hold down clamp and a rotor nut. This is a good place to tell you to take pictures as you're doing the disassembly of a reel, don't trust your memory. I know mine is not good from time to time. Oh yeah, I'll know that. And then comes out, don't really know that. This comes out in a counterclockwise or a traditional release. The old lefty-loosey. And we got the tie down underneath that. And you just want to note that. We should be able to pull up and out on the rotor now, and then we'll see what's going on, because there was a knock in there. And, well, if there's any question why there was a knock in there, you don't need to look much further than what's happening here. There's just a ton of sand in this reel. So I'm going to shut the camera off. I'm going to flush this now with a garden hose. So I'll be back. Okay, some may be wondering why I chose a garden hose. That's because I can do that outside, and I don't risk getting the sand and the like in there. Look at this. You can see how the sand inside the bowl has just, well, it's been like sandpaper. It's completely worn that as it's spun around and around. So this reel was used in surf fishing. And there's one more thing I want to check here. There's a slide here for the bail trip release. And it wouldn't surprise me if we have sand in here as well. There's an open slot on the back, and that's why the bail trip is having a difficult time, because that's loaded with sand as well. Well, back to the garden hose. Well, there's clearly too much sand in this to just spray it out, so I've gone ahead, I've removed the bail from the bail arm, and I will show you how to clean that bail arm up and how to reset that. We're going to need to remove the bail arm. There's two pieces under here. There is a Z-bar and a spring with a little head. Now we're going to take this off right now. You'll see there's the head, the spring. I'm going to move this out of the way and remove that bar. And we're going to flush all the rest of this out again because, well, there's just too much sand and debris in here. And we'll use water for that again. I'm going to bring over the spring, the arm, the rotor, and we'll be back. Okay, the circle here is where the bar goes. You can extend it up and out. Bring the bar to the side, press down, and set it over your stud. And you can bring your screw back on. And we should have a functioning kick lever now without the sand. Alright, so the whole secret there is get the tip of that carrier into that hole, push down, compress the spring. Now when we pull it out this way, the trip lever should come down, and you can see it's come down, and it will spring back when it's tripped. All right, just going to put a little bit of penetrating oil in there. Just for fun, we'll take our cover, put that back on. We'll retighten that bail, and we'll go on to servicing the rest of this reel. This has been a challenge. I wasn't told that the reel was dumped when he told me that the bail wasn't working. It's more than just the bail wasn't working on this one. Okay, bring that over here. The bail is square, so no issues there. This is your line roller. Bring that in. And you'll know your bail's in good condition when it just sits naturally against where it's going to mount. If you have any tension in this at all, then it's not properly shaped and you need to reshape it or replace it. Okay, that's back on. Just make sure that it turns nice and easy. All right, better. All right, let's just continue on then. And next up then is the anti-reverse fail-safe. That's the top one here. We're going to remove this. And again, I expect to see sand throughout, and we have sand throughout this. So this will need to be cleaned. Bring that back on. This is the same setup as the Penn Fierce. We will remove this so we can clean it. This will have an anti-reverse gear in it. Well, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, you want to leave those questions in the comments section. I will try to answer those for you. Try and get you back on track if you're working on something maybe you're stuck on, or provide you additional information if that's kind of what you're looking for there. And once that comes out, you have the basic setup for not only the Sargus, but the Fierce, and the Battle, and the Pursuit. Okay, I'm going to clean off the pinion gear here. Appears that inner race here, the spacer is frozen to the pinion gear, so we're going to let the sleeping dog lie. The bearings are all the rubber sealed bearings, so I'm not going to be able to get any lubrication in, but in this case it's probably the best thing that ever happened to this reel. And well, reset. The reverse clutch sleeve goes on. That goes on. And let's just do a quick cleanup on this body. I know you've been seeing me clean an awful lot in this video. That's what happens with sand. And this is just old grease in here now. The sand got washed out when I did the spray down. Okay, we can start to reinstall. Let's take our pinion gear stack. Use fishing reel grease, please. I'm using Penn Precision reel grease here. I use an artist brush so that I don't trap hairs when I spread the grease. We can bring that back into the carrier. Make sure that you get the top sleeve all the way in. You can test it at this point, make sure that it's holding. Next up then is the sleeve that holds that over. Still don't know what was making that knock. Probably just the sand. was the issue. One more here. I am noticing we are missing the spring on that eccentric, so I'm wondering if somehow that spring got caught up in there. Maybe it got flushed out when I did the other piece. I'm going to have to go back and order that spring. And for the purpose of this video, we'll continue as though that spring is on here. This is the piece that would go. There would be a spring here. It would come through and it would hold on to this little slot here. Goes through that slot there. Then this comes on and mounts here. So let's just pretend on this one that that spring is there. That could be it, because if that spring is not holding the tension on, it could be that this is continually bumping up against the rotor. All right, we're just going to continue as though those pieces, that spring was in there. I'm going to load this on. Bring the rotor nut back on. People ask where to get the parts for the Penn reels. I use Mystic Parts. They're in New Jersey, mysticparts.com. They are a Penn parts distributor, and they, if it's available from Penn, it's available from them. Okay, tighten that down. Bring our clamp in. Clamp screw. Bring that in. Spin it, make sure that it spins nice and easy. I'm not hearing any knocking. That's a good sign. We've been soaking this oscillation gear. We pretty much have it. I think this is pretty much just kind of brought it up from the piece, but the teeth appear to be good. So we'll put this back in. I just want to check all the teeth because, well, sand will have an effect of wearing down the teeth. They appear to be okay. I'll load that up with grease. This gets grease everywhere. The back hub, the teeth, and the face. When you mount that gear, mount it with the stud on the downside of this. Go ahead and get your screw that's going to hold that whole assembly together there. And we had that issue with the main gear. Go ahead and just, we've had that soaking. And again, I think this is corrosion. We'll do the same thing here. We're going to pull through the teeth, make sure that they're okay. Check the back teeth as well. Okay. Particularly when you're working with something that's been sanded. All right, load the main gear up with grease. Grease the back gear. We can set that in place. Probably should put the crosswind block in first. Crosswind block, you should take pictures so that you know which side of the block goes where. Now we can put the main gear in. And bring our axle shaft in. Axle shaft has a flat side that's going to go into your crosswind block. Line the screw holes up with your crosswind block once you have them in. Get your 2 small screws. Now this does not have an anti-reverse override to it. So if you can't reach the top, you have to spin the reel all the way around and bring it down again. Bring the other screw in. We have the other shim washer. Bearing. Install the side plate. Go for the 3 long screws that belong on the outside, and then the one that goes under the bump guard. And it wouldn't surprise me if we're going to get some noise because, well, no matter how hard you try with sand, there's always something left behind. And that's just a function of the micro sands that are in there that you can't see and can't flush out. Sanding a reel is one of the worst things that can happen to it. And, well, you can see why. The damage was done under the rotor here, as it looked just like sandpaper had rubbed against the inside cavity. And best advice I can give you if that happens is immediately upon getting to a place that has some water, flush the reel. And the best way to flush the reel is to put it in a bucket of water. That way the sand will loosen, not harden as it did here, and it could save you the reel. The bump guard goes on. Got one more screw. Get that little screw in here. I knew I was keeping my micro screwdriver out for some reason. Now the bump guard goes on. The bump guard screw, and there's no other pieces and parts left in here. We only got one more thing to do, and that's to check the spool now. And we'll give it a test. Now this spool should have felt washers in it. Should be able to screw back on. We should have felt washers in here. If you have felt washers in here and you want to upgrade, you can move them over to Carbon Tex washers. They will accept them. You can take the HT100s from the Fierce series, I believe. The later Fierce series, the first 2 series of the Fierce had the felt washers as well. But you can replace them with the Penn HT100s, which is their version of a Carbon Tex washer, or a hybrid. And you can also order Carbon Tex washers for it, if that's the way you want to go. Not just because everything else seems to have gone under the water. We're going to check here and remove the collar, and we can remove the drag washers. We've got a stack of felt washers, as I suspected, and they all seem to be encrusted with dirt and debris. This is a traditional 6 washer set. Make sure that your washer is clean, and then I use oil on felt washers. You need to use oil or grease, but you do need to keep them wet. Oh, this has got a 5 washer set. Okay, interesting. All right, keyed washer is first. We're going to repeat this process now. You're going to alternate between the keyed washers and the eared washers. they're totally dry, probably on the verge of tearing. Another keyed washer now. And just repeat. Geared washer. Last of the felt washers. Last of the keyed washers. Here's your rim. I can go to the 3 screws now. And then we'll be ready to put this on. Give it a test. No question it will be running better. Question is, how much has that sand affected this reel? If we get a bad grind to it, it means it's gotten to the point where the gears have worn. The only way to eliminate that is to replace the gears. One more. Well, I'm thinking the click-click noise that was coming from the top was probably that broken spring, which we're going to go order so that this reel can be 100% correct. But again, we wanted to continue for those of you wondering how to service this reel or aren't dealing with all of the sand. Right now I'm just aligning the drag washers. I turned this upside down so that I have the proper alignment, so that when you go in, it goes in easy. Put the button back on. Handle goes back on. And we'll give it a test. See how we did. So it should be smoother operating, should be less noise, should be no noise in the knock-knock category. We'll just see how much it smoothed it out. Alright, so what did we do? We found out the reel was sanded. Did a good flushing and cleaning of the reel. Got underneath here, we were told we have a bail problem. Got underneath here and noticed that it was just caked with sand. That will prevent or limit the trip mechanism from working. Cleaned all of that out, got into the case, saw the damage underneath the rotor and missing part. That was probably what was causing the knocking. That was taken care of. We're going to go get the missing part to complete the service. We cleaned out the body and the case, cleaned out all of the lubrication from the gearing, and we're ready to give it a test. Well, there you go. A lot quieter, no knock, knock, knock. And while on the bail, we got a firing bail. Now again, I think we might want to just use some penetrating oil in here to loosen that up a little bit. With use, that will loosen up. But right now, this reel is doing what this reel should be doing. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a really strange trip here. I didn't expect to see what we got. But overall, we got it working again. And it's actually pretty smooth. I'm not hearing a lot of grinding going on in there, and that's a good thing. All right, so before I leave, I want to take a moment to thank our first responders and essential personnel. I appreciate everything it is that you do to keep us safe, our police, fire, safety, rescue, EMTs, and the like. And I want to thank everybody for, well, sticking along with this video. It's been quite a project here. And for watching the channel, and for being part of the channel with your comments and your observations. This is Dennis with Second Chance Taco, wishing everybody a great day. Thanks for watching.